So I've got my hands on the full official manual for the Formula Tekken 300cc straight from the distributor, and I want to share some specs with you, some real specs. To be honest, I wasn't sure this bike existed in Kenya, but more about that later in this video. This distributor, however, is based in Costa Rica, a country somewhere in Central America. So you might be wondering, why am I bringing this up for the Kenyan market? Or why does this even matter for you right here in Kenya? Well, because it tells you something important. This bike is not some mysterious one-off built-in single factory for one single market. This is a platform, a Chinese engineered chassis and engine combination that gets exported, rebadged, repainted, and resold. This is a 300cc engine, 4-stroke, oil-cooled, with a claimed output of 22 horsepower and 16 kilowatts. Now, sit with that number for a second because context is everything in this business. 22 horsepower from 300cc is not a number that is going to win any drag races. I need you to lower your expectations right now, but you can raise them later on. For comparison, a lot of modern 300cc single-cylinder engines from more established brands are squeezing out closer to 30, sometimes even higher, horsepower numbers from the same displacement. So what is going on here? The honest answer is that the engine is tuned conservatively, likely for durability and smoothness over outright power and performance, which, if you think about it, is not the worst decision for a bike that is going to spend a lifelong being flogged on Kenyan roads by riders who may or may not know what a valve clearance is. As for top speed, the manual actually gives us a number, 140 kilometers per hour. Well, that sounds respectable, at least on paper, even exciting. In practice, on a bike weighing what this one weighs, carrying a rider, maybe a passenger, maybe a sack of something strapped to the rear rack, the manual specifically warns you about it. You are realistically looking at a bike that cruises comfortably somewhere well below the ceiling. And reaching that claimed top speed will likely feel like convincing a reluctant toddler to eat vegetables. Technically possible, but a slow and dramatic process. This is not a bike built for speed. That's what I've been trying to say all along. This is a bike built for getting from point A to B without drama, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, as long as you walk in with the right expectations. The bike weighs 147.5 kilograms, according to the manual's own specification sheet. Now, for a 300cc adventure-style bike, that is actually not bad at all. It is genuinely one of the more flattering numbers in this entire spec sheet. Compare that to some of the heavier adventure tourers in this segment that tip the scales well past 160, even 170 kilograms. And the Tekken suddenly starts looking like the disciplined friend at the buffet, who actually stuck on their diet. This lighter weight matters more than people realize, especially if you are the kind of rider who is going to be picking this bike up out of mud, sand, or that one notorious pothole on the road everyone in your area complains about, but nobody has reported to the county government. A lighter bike is a more forgiving bike when things go sideways, which literally does happen every other single day. On the chassis, the Tekken actually starts to punch way above its price bracket, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Before we go back to roasting it, this bike comes with inverted front suspension forks. Inverted forks on a budget adventure bike is not something you see every single day, and it is a legitimate feature that usually shows up on more expensive machines. I've said this again and again on this channel. More premium machines are the ones with this kind of specification. Paired with that up front is a monoshock rear suspension, which again is a more sophisticated setup than the twin shock arrangement you would expect at this price point. On paper, this is a suspension package that is trying to convince you this bike belongs in a more expensive conversation than its price tag suggests. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is either a genuinely smart engineering decision or a very convincing magic trick, and only real-world testing over months of Kenyan roads will tell us which one it actually is. And for the brakes, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where safety meets budget reality and things start to get interesting. The Tekken comes with disc brakes, front and rear, both described in the manual as ventilated discs, which helps with heat dissipation during hot of course, and hard or repeated braking, something that matters a lot on a bike that is likely to be used on hilly terrain where you are on the brakes constantly going downhill. The manual specifies the front brake lever should have a free play of 10 to 20 millimeters and the rear pedal 20 to 30 millimeters, and it is refreshingly specific about this, which tells us the manufacturer actually expects owners, or at least mechanics, to be checking these numbers regularly. What the manual does not mention anywhere, and I looked very carefully, is any mention of ABS. There is no anti-lock braking system on this bike. Now, for many riders in this price segment, that will not be a deal breaker because plenty of bikes at this level skip the ABS entirely. But it is worth knowing before you hit the first patch of wet tarmac on a rainy Nairobi morning and your rear wheel decides it wants to explore its options independently of the front one. How about this bike's engine personality? Because specs on paper only tells half the story. This is a 4-stroke oil-cooled engine, and I want to pause on that word, oil-cooled, because it is doing a lot of quiet work in the conversation. Oil cooling sits in between the old-school air-cooled engines that overheat if you look at them wrong in traffic, and the more expensive liquid-cooled engines with radiators and coolant reservoirs that need more maintenance and attention. Oil cooling is essentially the budget-conscious middle child, less prone to overheating than basic air-cooled unit, but simpler and cheaper to maintain than the full liquid-cooled system. This tells you the engineers behind this bike were thinking about heat management on hot Kenyan afternoons without wanting to burden the owner with radiator maintenance, and that is a genuinely sensible compromise for a bike aimed at everyday riders rather than track day enthusiasts. For the gearbox transmission, it is 6-speed, which honestly is a pleasant surprise at this price point. Paired with a wet multi-disc clutch running in an oil bath, 6 gears give you more flexibility in finding the right power band, whether you're crawling through Nairobi traffic or just cruising on the highway to Naivasha or elsewhere. And a wet clutch tends to run cooler and lasts longer than a dry clutch under the kind of stop and start abuse that Kenyan roads inevitably deliver. The manual, in a moment of brutal honesty that I actually appreciate, warns you very specifically not to accelerate while changing gears, to operate the gear pedal slowly, warning that careless shifting can cause damage to both the clutch and the gearbox with premature wear. Think about that for a second. The manufacturer is essentially telling you in writing that this gearbox has limits and it wants you to respect them. That is not a red flag. That is actually refreshing honesty in an industry that usually oversells everything. And it tells you this bike rewards smooth riding and punishes an aggressive one, which is useful information before you decide whether this bike matches your riding personality or not. How about fuel tank capacity, among other things such as efficiency? Because this is where the Tekken quietly makes its strongest argument. The fuel tank holds 15.5 liters and the manual claims consumption of around 3.54 liters per 100 kilometers, which, if that number holds up in real world testing, and we always take manufacturers' fuel figures with healthy pinch of salt, gives you a theoretic range well north of 400 kilometers on a single tank. That is the kind of number that makes long distance riders sit up and pay attention, because it means fewer stops, fewer fuel budget headaches, and more time actually enjoying the ride instead of hunting for the nearest petrol station in some small trading center where you're not entirely sure the fuel hasn't been mixed with something else creative. I also read something interesting on the manual about this bike, and it is the reserve fuel warning. The manual tells you that when your fuel tap is switched to the reserve position, you only have about 0.8 liters left, less than a liter. And it explicitly warns that this reserve should only be used when you have already run out of the fuel and should be refilled as soon as possible. 0.8 liters is not a safety net. That is barely a going away present from your fuel tank. It is the mechanical equivalent of your phone battery hitting 1% while you're still typing the address into Google Maps. So if that reserve light or indicator comes on, do not treat it as a suggestion. Treat it as your bike politely screaming at you to find a petrol station immediately. And I mean it. Well, let's move on to the dashboard, because the Tekken 300 clearly wanted the bike to feel modern, even if the price tag says otherwise. This is a fully digital instrument cluster showing your speed, gear position indicators so you always know which of the 6 gears you are in, of course, a clock, an odometer, fuel level indicators, turn signal indicators, and a high beam indicator. A digital gear indicator is particularly a small feature that makes a real difference for newer riders who are still building muscle memory with the manual gearbox. because there is nothing worse than being stuck at a junction, engine stalling, while you frantically guess whether you are in the first gear or second. This is a thoughtful, modern touch on a bike that could have easily gotten away with a basic analog speedometer and called it a day. Before I forget, the ignition safety features and system, and this is where the manual reveals some genuinely sensible engineering decisions layered underneath all the budget jokes we have been making. The bike uses CDI, electronic ignition system, straightforward and reliable technology that has been proven across decades of motorcycles. The ignition key itself has 3 positions: off, on and lock, with the lock position engaging a steering lock for security. And the manual is very clear that the motorcycle can only be started when the gearbox is in neutral, and even then you need to be pressing both the front and rear brakes simultaneously for the electric start button to actually engage the starter motor. This is a genuinely smart anti-theft and anti-accident feature, because it means the bike physically cannot lurch forward the moment it starts if you're not holding the brakes, which for new riders especially is the kind of small mercy that prevents embarrassing parking lot disasters. How about lighting? Because this is another area where the spec sheet punches above the price class. The Tekken comes with full LED headlight, which the marketing materials are very proud of to mention right there on the cover page of the manual. And full LED lighting at this price point is uncommon. Most budget bikes in this segment are still running basic halogen bulbs that struggle to provide or illuminate a dark rural road outside Nakuru at night. LED lighting means better visibility for you, and more importantly, better visibility for you to other road users, which on Kenyan roads where matatus treat lane discipline as more of a suggestion than a rule, might genuinely be a life-saving feature rather than a cosmetic bragging point. As for the maintenance, because this is where I need you to really pay attention, because this section of the manual tells a story that shiny marketing and dealer visits do not. The maintenance schedule specifies checks at 500 kilometers, 1500 kilometers, then 3000 kilometers, and then 5000, covering everything from the fuel system and accelerator cables to valve clearances, brake fluids, wheel bearings, and the steering head. The oil needs checking every 800 to 1000 kilometers using 10W30, 15W40 4-stroke oil, with an oil capacity of just 1.4 liters, which is a relatively small amount compared to bigger displacement beasts, meaning oil changes here should be comfortable and affordable, a small win for your wallet in the long run. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. The manual repeatedly, and I mean repeatedly, states that specific jobs, valve adjustments, brake pad replacement, spark plug replacement, air filter servicing, clutch adjustment, wheel bearing work should only be performed by what it calls a specialized mechanic or an authorized dealer workshop. So take note of that. This is marked throughout the maintenance chart with a double asterisk, meaning strictly authorized dealers only. No joking, no roadside mechanic. Now think widely distributed with an established dealer network and readily available spare parts in your specific town. That maintenance requirement stops being a mere suggestion and start owning a perfectly good motorcycle that is sitting in your compound, because the one authorized workshop that can touch it is 3 counties away. Very sad. Let's mention some frustrations. Let's talk about recommended spark plugs, because the manual specifies 2 exact part numbers. And if you have ever tried sourcing a very specific spark plug variant in a smaller Kenyan town, you already know where this story is going. This is not a criticism unique to the Tekken alone. This is a universal budget bike problem, but it is worth talking about. A bike is only as reliable as the ease of maintaining it, and specificity, while great for engineering precision, is not always great for real-world conveniences in markets where parts networks are still developing. And here is an Easter egg surprise specification that has been mentioned, and that is rider protection and the loading of this bike, because there is an entire section dedicated to that. They call it vehicle loading, warning that improper loading can seriously affect the handling and stability of this motorcycle, and any modification or removal of original equipment could make a vehicle illegal and void your warranty completely. There is also a very specific warning about the rear rack, stating it is designed only for light items that might be securely tied down so they don't affect handling. This tells us something important about who is this bike designed for. This is not an overlanding beast built to carry panniers full of camping gear across the Chalbi Desert. This is a practical everyday commuter with adventure styling, and if you load it up like it's fully kitted expedition bike, you're working against the very engineering the manual is warning you about. Something to impress, because most budget bikes treat safety as an afterthought. It tells riders explicitly to always wear a properly fastened helmet, goggles and gloves, and it specifically wants passengers to wear boots and leg protection because of heat coming off the exhaust during riding. So here is our final thought, stripped of all those jokes and all the satire we've used in this script. The Tekken 300 is, on paper, a genuinely well specified budget adventure bike, with features like inverted forks, a monoshock rear end, dual ventilated disc brakes, full LED lighting and a digital dashboard that punch noticeably above its likely price point, wrapped around a conservative oil-cooled engine that prioritizes smoothness and durability over outright thrilling performance. Its lightweight chassis and excellent claimed fuel economy makes it a genuinely practical everyday companion, but its heavy reliance on authorized workshop servicing for almost every meaningful maintenance task is the single biggest worry and question mark hanging over this bike. And that question mark can only be answered by you, the buyer, checking exactly how strong, how close and how well stocked the dealer network actually is in your part of Kenya before you hand over your hard-earned money. Because at the end of the day, the best spec sheet in the world means absolutely nothing if the nearest person qualified to service your bike is 5 hours ride away. And that is more than horsepower, more than top speed, is the real test this bike has to pass before it earns a permanent place in your garage. And until then, I will see you in the next one. You already know what to do.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.